The automotive world is going through a major shakeup. Brands that were once household names are now hanging by a thread. With collapsing sales, outdated models, and overwhelming competition, these once mighty manufacturers are fighting just to stay alive. In today's video, we're uncovering the harsh reality behind 8 car brands that are on the verge of vanishing for good. We'll explain what's causing their downfall, what it means for you, and how to avoid investing in a vehicle that could become obsolete. And the last 2 brands are in such bad shape, they might not survive the next 5 years. Number 8. Mitsubishi. Remember when Mitsubishi cars were a common sight on the roads back in the late 90s and early 2000s? They were everywhere. Gallants parked at the mall, Eclipses filling high school parking lots, and Lancer Evolution zooming through the freeway. Back then, Mitsubishi was known for building affordable, fun-to-drive cars with real character. But nowadays, spotting a Mitsubishi during your daily drive feels like finding a unicorn. Yes, Mitsubishi did report a 25% increase in sales in 2024, which might sound impressive until you look a bit deeper. They only managed to sell 109,843 vehicles in the entire US that year. For comparison, brands like Toyota, Honda, and even Subaru move more units than that in a single month. That's like bragging about winning $10 while your neighbors are cashing in lottery checks worth millions. And it gets worse. Mitsubishi just discontinued its best-selling model, the Mirage. Sure, the Mirage wasn't a great car. It was slow, bare bones, and loaded with cheap plastic. But it was dirt cheap, fuel-efficient, and reliable for budget-conscious buyers. In a world where new car prices are regularly topping $40,000, the Mirage was the last remaining lifeline for students, first-time buyers, and Uber drivers. So what's left? Mitsubishi's current US lineup includes the Outlander, the smaller Outlander Sport, and the aging Eclipse Cross. That's it. And none of them shine in the ultra-competitive SUV market already dominated by heavyweights like the Toyota RAV4, Honda CR-V, and Hyundai Tucson. The Outlander is supposed to be the flagship, but here's the kicker. It's essentially just a rebadged Nissan Rogue, thanks to Mitsubishi's partnership with Nissan and Renault. Even the once promising plug-in hybrid version is now struggling to keep up with flashier rivals like the RAV4 Prime. Then there's the Eclipse Cross, a crossover that tries to channel the sporty spirit of the old Eclipse Coupe. The result? An awkward-looking SUV that fails to stand out. Critics often call it sluggish, bland, and simply outdated. And there's another big problem. Mitsubishi doesn't build any of its vehicles in the US. Every model is imported, which drives up costs and delays delivery. Issues that hit especially hard during the pandemic and global chip shortage. If you visit one of Mitsubishi's 300 remaining dealerships, the picture becomes even clearer. Inventory is scarce, excitement is non-existent, and there's no sign of a next-gen Lancer or a breakthrough SUV on the horizon. Unless Mitsubishi makes a dramatic comeback with bold EVs or competitive new models, it's on a fast track to becoming just another memory right next to Saturn and Pontiac. And if you think that's bad, wait until you see what's coming up next. Number 7. Maserati. You'd think owning a Maserati would be the ultimate flex. Just hearing the name screams high-end. For years, it was the go-to status car for pro athletes, celebrities, and influencers looking to make a statement. But now, even those crowds are turning their backs. In 2024, Maserati sold only 4,819 vehicles in the US, less than half of what they sold the year before. Globally, they managed just 11,300 units. That's a staggering 57% drop, leaving the brand buried under a $285 million financial loss. So, what's driving the decline of this legendary Trident badge? Let's dig in. First off, reliability, or the lack of it. Maseratis look the part, sleek, exotic, and eye-catching. But once you lift the hood, things start to fall apart. Owners report all kinds of issues, from glitchy electronics and clunky gearboxes to sudden engine failures. For a car that easily crosses the $100,000 mark, that's simply unacceptable. Then there's the brand confusion. What exactly is Maserati trying to be? A Ferrari rival? A budget Bentley? A stylish alternative to BMW? It's hard to say. The brand's messaging has been all over the place. Even the MC20, their headline-grabbing supercar, struggled to gain meaningful traction or buzz in the market. Let's not forget the costs. Maseratis aren't just expensive to purchase, they're even pricier to maintain. Repairs and service can run sky high, and finding parts is often a nightmare. Plus, depreciation hits hard. Many buyers who once leased them for the nameplate are now wondering if the flash is really worth the hassle. And it gets worse. Thanks to Trump-era tariffs that slapped a 25% import tax on European luxury cars, Maseratis, which are made entirely overseas, have become even more expensive to bring into the US. Combine that with already weak sales, and you've got a serious problem. Meanwhile, other exotic brands are thriving. Ferrari moved 13,752 cars in 2024. Lamborghini came close with 10,700. When your higher-priced rivals are outperforming you by that much, you know something's off. The pressure reached a boiling point when Maserati's CEO, Davide Grasso, was ousted in 2024. The company is now stuck in limbo, with no solid EV roadmap, a shrinking customer base, and its once iconic image fading fast. If things don't turn around soon, Maserati might end up as just another relic, collecting dust in dealer lots or only remembered in old movies. And believe it or not, the next brand on our list's downfall might be even more shocking. Number 6. Jaguar. There was a time when driving up in a Jaguar made a statement. It was one of those cars that turned heads, even if someone wasn't into cars. That signature engine growl, the sleek long hood, the bold grille, it all screamed sophistication and prestige. But today, Jaguar is more of a faint echo than a roar. In 2024, Jaguar managed to sell just 33,000 vehicles globally. Compare that to over 180,000 units just 6 years prior. That's an 82% drop, and in the US, sales dropped to a mere 13,210, less than what Toyota sells in a single day. So what went wrong for this once proud British brand? In a word, confusion. Jaguar's CEO, Adrian Mardell, recently told investors that the brand is scrapping most of its gas-powered models to go fully electric. On paper, that sounds daring. In reality, it's more like diving off a cliff without a parachute. Right now, Jaguar's lineup is down to just one vehicle in production, the F-Pace SUV. Everything else is gone. No XE, no XF, no I-Pace EV. Just the aging F-Pace, which itself is now lagging behind more advanced competitors. Meanwhile, Lexus is churning out hybrids with unbeatable reliability, and BMW and Mercedes are flooding the market with new electric SUVs faster than Jaguar can roll out a software update. Here's the kicker. Jaguar's upcoming electric vehicles won't even be built on their existing platforms. They're starting from square one, which means enormous development costs, years of research and development, and a major gamble that buyers will actually want electric Jaguars when they finally arrive. And analysts aren't optimistic. Some believe Jaguar could lose up to 85% of its current customer base once the transition is complete. Why? Because Jaguar's core buyers tend to be older, classic luxury enthusiasts. Many still crave the feeling of a roaring V6, not a whisper, quiet EV motor. One more blow to the pile is Trump's aggressive 25% import tariffs. Jaguar doesn't manufacture in the US, so every vehicle has to be imported, making them even more expensive and even less competitive in a luxury market already brimming with options from Lexus, BMW, and Mercedes. Even longtime fans are starting to wonder, what's left to love? Dealerships are shutting down, new model reveals have vanished, and service centers are disappearing. It's hard to justify spending $50,000 or $60,000 on a vehicle from a brand that looks like it might not be around to support it. Even Jaguar's Formula E racing team hasn't moved the needle. Sure, it earns headlines, but it hasn't helped sales. And the brand's rich heritage, loaded with Le Mans wins and iconic design awards, rarely gets brought up at all in modern showrooms. So the real question is, can Jaguar's electric rebirth actually succeed? Or will this iconic name vanish before a single new electric model even makes it to the showroom floor? Number 5. Alfa Romeo. Let's face it, Alfa Romeo makes some absolutely jaw-dropping cars. The styling, the stance, the drama. It's like Italian flair blended with pure motorsport DNA. Models like the Giulia and the Stelvio look like they were custom-built for a Hollywood chase scene. But here's the sad reality. Buyers just aren't interested anymore. In 2018, Alfa managed to sell close to 24,000 vehicles in the US. Fast forward to 2024, and that number plummeted to only 8,865. That's not a dip. That's a nosedive. So what went wrong? In the beginning, things looked promising. The Giulia sedan brought sharp handling and head-turning design. The Stelvio SUV was fast, unique, and stood out in a sea of bland family haulers. But then the problems started rolling in fast. Sure, they looked great, but they couldn't back it up with reliability. Some owners reported problems with coolant leaks, warning lights, and electrical glitches within the first few thousand miles. By the 40,000-mile mark, suspension issues were becoming common. One minute you're enjoying a spirited drive, the next you're staring at a repair bill that hurts your soul. Then came the recalls. Not just one or two, but dozens. Faulty airbags, fuel system issues, brake defects, you name it. Owning an Alfa began to feel like spinning a roulette wheel every time you turn the key. Even the high-performance versions, the Giulia Quadrifoglio and Stelvio Quadrifoglio, fitted with Ferrari-inspired engines and capable of 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, weren't immune. All that speed doesn't mean much if the car spends half its life at the dealership. And the issues don't stop under the hood. The infotainment system is sluggish, voice recognition rarely works properly, and the resale value? Forget about it. A 3-year-old Giulia can lose almost 50% of its value, a terrifying figure in today's inflated used car market. To make matters worse, Alfa's parent company, Stellantis, has been quietly backing away. The Quadrifoglio trim discontinued, the lightweight 4C coupe gone. What remains is a short lineup of pricey vehicles, coupled with a reputation for unreliability and no major upgrades in sight. Here's where it gets awkward. Walk into a dealership and ask the salesperson why you should choose an Alfa over something like a Lexus, BMW, or even a Mazda. Odds are you'll get a hesitant pause followed by a half-hearted shrug. So where does Alfa Romeo go from here? There's buzz about electrification with plans for EVs and plug-in hybrids. But let's be honest, slapping in a battery won't fix bad software or poor assembly. Until Alfa proves it can deliver style and substance, most car shoppers won't take the risk. And if that doesn't change soon, Alfa could wind up alongside Saab, an admired brand that's now just a memory. Coming up next is a company that's been around forever but might not be for much longer. Number 4. Daewoo. If you're under 25, chances are you've never even heard of Daewoo. But back in the 1990s, these cars were practically everywhere. They were affordable, compact, and hyped up as the next big thing from Asia, meant to rival Honda and Toyota. So how does a car brand go from being in every mall parking lot to disappearing without a trace. Let's take a step back. Daewoo was a South Korean manufacturer that entered the US market in the late 90s. Models like the Lanos, Leganza, and Nubira weren't glamorous, but they got the job done. And more importantly, they were dirt cheap. College kids, new drivers, and budget-conscious families flocked to them. You could walk into a dealership and leave with a brand new Daewoo for under $10,000. But underneath that low price tag was a disaster waiting to happen. Build quality was mediocre at best. Parts wore out quickly, the engines lacked power, and when things started breaking down, good luck finding a shop that could fix them. Mechanics scratched their heads and replacement parts were either impossible to track down or stupidly expensive to import. Even worse, Daewoo's dealership network in the US was a disaster. Many of their dealerships were underfunded independents, meaning service was inconsistent, and getting post-sale support felt like a losing battle. While brands like Toyota built loyalty with long-term reliability and solid customer care, Daewoo just couldn't compete. And then came the final nail in the coffin. Daewoo's parent company in South Korea filed for bankruptcy in the early 2000s. General Motors swooped in, took over, and quietly rebranded the cars as Chevrolets. Just like that, Daewoo vanished. No goodbye tour, no final model year. It simply ceased to exist. By 2013, over 55,000 Daewoos were still running on UK roads. But by 2023, that number had dropped to just 2,227. That's a staggering 96% drop. And the numbers keep shrinking. With no parts, no support, and no loyal fan base, even the remaining owners are scrambling to sell them off. Even car enthusiasts want nothing to do with them. Unlike defunct brands like Saab or Pontiac, Daewoo never built anything that stirred emotion. No halo car, no legendary performance model, just basic economy rides that wore out quickly and disappeared even faster. And here's the scary part. Most car brands fade slowly. But Daewoo? It's vanishing right in front of our eyes. Like watching a species go extinct, but with worse fuel economy. And if you think that's bad, wait until you see what's happening to a brand that used to dominate the streets with its compact car swagger. Number 3. Mini. There was a time when owning a Mini felt like being part of an exclusive club. The cars were tiny, fun, stylish, and full of charm. They were the anti-SUV, perfect for city drivers who didn't want something dull or oversized. But fast forward to today, and Mini seems to be having an identity crisis. Back in 2012, Mini was riding high in the US, selling over 76,000 vehicles. But by 2024, that number had plummeted to just 26,299. That's not a slowdown, that's a full-blown collapse. The Countryman, their larger SUV-style Mini, was meant to be the brand's savior. Instead, it's sitting on dealer lots with a bloated 188-day supply. In the auto world, that's a 5-alarm fire. So, what went wrong? For starters, Mini got bigger literally. The cars increased in size but not necessarily in value. Suddenly, Minis didn't feel so mini. They were expensive, oversized, and going head-to-head with compact SUVs from brands like Subaru and Mazda, which offered more space, better reliability, and fewer weird design quirks. Then there's BMW's inconsistent management of the brand. The 2024 refresh was supposed to reignite interest. Instead, it flopped, partly due to a major recall over brake system issues that rattled both customers and dealerships. And don't even get started on the scrapped electric Cooper convertible. That was Mini's big push into the EV future, and BMW pulled the plug before it ever hit the road. Even the die-hard fans are starting to bail. Why spend over $30,000 on a Mini when you can buy a fully loaded Honda Civic or Mazda CX-30 for the same price? And avoid the high maintenance costs. clunky infotainment, and cramped rear seats. And then there's fuel economy. Minis used to be great on gas, but as they've bulked up, efficiency has taken a nosedive. Some newer models barely crack 30 miles per gallon, which isn't cutting it in today's hybrid-heavy market. The most troubling part? BMW seems to be losing interest in Mini altogether. Marketing efforts have dried up, new releases feel rushed, and innovation is nowhere to be seen. The brand is stuck in a strange middle ground. Too pricey for entry-level buyers, but not premium enough to attract luxury shoppers. Unless Mini rediscovers what made it special, quirky looks, agile driving, and real-world affordability, it could slowly vanish, just like the original British Mini it once aimed to honor. Number 2. Chrysler. Once upon a time, Chrysler was a symbol of American innovation and strength. Alongside General Motors and Ford, it was part of Detroit's iconic Big Three, a powerhouse of the automotive industry. In 2005, Chrysler had a robust lineup spanning 7 different models and sold over 649,000 vehicles in just 1 year. But today, Chrysler is barely a shadow of what it used to be, with its decline slow but steady and seemingly unavoidable. Nowadays, the brand is down to just 2 models, the Pacifica minivan and the budget-friendly Voyager. Once celebrated as a pioneer of family transport, the Pacifica now stands as Chrysler's sole flagship. Even so, these minivans are struggling, with sales dropping more than 50% over the last decade. That's hardly a winning strategy for a company that invented the minivan back in the 1980s. Chrysler's downfall wasn't sudden, but it sure looks like the company missed the signs. As families shifted their preferences from minivans to SUVs, Chrysler stayed focused on the wrong market. They were slow to adapt to changing tastes. While SUVs and crossovers became the family favorite, Chrysler stubbornly stuck with the minivan as its main product. What's worse, when Chrysler finally tried to innovate, it was too little too late. Take the Airflow EV, meant to be Chrysler's bold entry into the electric vehicle world, a chance to reclaim some lost relevance and excitement. Instead, it was quietly cancelled before it even made a splash. Without a solid electric vehicle plan, Chrysler now finds itself scrambling to catch up to an industry that has already embraced EVs. Adding insult to injury, Chrysler's parent company, Stellantis, has made it clear that underperforming brands are on the chopping block. This puts Chrysler in a dangerous spot. Some experts say Chrysler might be in worse shape now than during its 1979 bankruptcy crisis, when the company needed a $1.5 billion federal bailout just to survive. Back then, at least, there was hope for a comeback. Now, that hope is slipping away fast. Chrysler is no longer the trailblazer it once was. With no fresh models on the horizon, it's looking increasingly likely that Chrysler's legacy will soon be just a footnote in American automotive history. So, what's next for Chrysler? Without a game-changing product or a clear vision, the brand could be on the edge of disappearing. Unless Chrysler reinvents itself quickly, it might soon join the list of once great American names now lost to time. Number 1. Nissan. Nissan was once a major force in the automotive world, known for delivering reliable, affordable, and innovative vehicles. At its peak, Nissan held over 8% of the US car market, a solid share that showcased the brand's strong reputation and presence. But nowadays, Nissan's hold has weakened considerably, struggling to maintain just 4% market share. This sharp drop isn't by accident. It's the result of a series of mistakes that have pushed the company into a steep decline. At the core of Nissan's troubles is its failure to keep up with changing consumer tastes and market demands. The company, once a pioneer in electric vehicles with the launch of the first mass-market EV, the Leaf, failed to build on its early lead. While rivals like Tesla and Hyundai aggressively rolled out cutting-edge electric models, Nissan stood still. The Leaf, despite its early innovation, remained largely unchanged for years. And Nissan didn't follow up with fresh electric options to excite buyers. As a result, the brand has fallen behind in the EV race, watching competitors surge ahead. But Nissan's struggles go beyond electric vehicles. Its financial health is shaky. In Japan, Nissan has teetered on the brink of bankruptcy, with year-over-year profit losses hitting a staggering 99%. A few years back, this would have seemed impossible. Yet despite efforts to stabilize, Nissan continues to falter, unable to refresh its lineup or regain customer trust. One of Nissan's biggest hurdles has been its failure to offer cars that truly inspire buyers. While competitors like Toyota and Honda keep winning over customers with dependable, well-designed vehicles, Nissan's offerings have been criticized for being dull, outdated, and lacking standout features. Even worse, many Nissan models have developed reliability problems, with owners reporting transmission failures and electrical issues. Problems once unimaginable for a brand known for durability. The situation is made worse by Nissan's bloated dealership network in the US. The company operates far more dealerships than needed, leading to unsold cars piling up on lots. This overproduction combined with stagnant demand has forced Nissan to slash prices and offer heavy incentives just to clear inventory. While this might temporarily boost sales, it hurts profitability and creates a vicious cycle. Leadership turmoil has only deepened Nissan's problems. Multiple leadership changes, including the arrest of a former CEO over financial misconduct, have created confusion and instability. Without strong leadership or a clear vision, Nissan has struggled to execute a consistent strategy, leaving its future uncertain. So, what's next for Nissan? If the company doesn't make swift, bold moves, it risks following brands like Suzuki, which once thrived in the US but eventually vanished. We hope you liked this video. If you want to watch something similar, check out the next video that just appeared on your screen.